Hello everyone, welcome back to the second episode of Born Offside for this week. And we've got something a little special for you. Claudes has subbed out and we're very lucky.
Got a good sub though.
Yeah, I
Great
think
sub.
a very high quality sub. This is amazing. And we've got an injured Olan
I'm on the
still,
bench.
unfortunately. But Daniel Georgievski, welcome to Born Offside.
Thank you for having me, guys.
It's amazing to have you here. We're very excited because I guess you've had a really interesting football experience in terms of you currently play NPL, you've played A-Leagues, you've played Croatia, you've played for Macedonia.
Played in
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, played everyone, man.
Played a few places.
An
Decorated
incredible
footballer.
experience in
Not too
playing
much.
in
Not too much. You
Ah,
know,
well,
those players that have 12 teams in their career, like, come on, man.
better
Yeah.
than the two of us,
Yeah, 100%.
shall we say. Yeah.
100%.
Not
Fair, the majority in Australia, to be fair.
Yeah. I think also playing for North Macedonia, representing that really strong Macedonian community that we have here, there's a lot to unpack with that and talk about because I think the experience in itself would be really cool. But let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your early days at Marconi and then that initial move to Croatia.
Well, if we're going back even earlier, I was
Yeah.
at Blacktown Demons, which
Okay.
now is Blacktown City, and I got cut at under 13s.
Oh, wow.
Because
For Blacktown.
apparently, I don't know if I was that good
Well,
or
they said
whatnot.
they said you were too small.
No, the TD cut me. I think because when I got there, I was under 11s and I was tall, and then everyone shot up, and I was the small guy. But then I went to Marconi, and it was a good experience because every year that I was playing in my youth, we either become minor premiers or we won the grand final. So I was in that mix, but I was never considered a good player.
Was you always left back then?
No, I was so I was playing
the
like
middle
back
10?
three, like a stopper.
Yeah.
And then I was playing in the midfield, which I loved. You know, just ran up and down. And then the coach put me I did my knee for about 6 weeks. So I just started playing on my left. I had no idea how to do it before. And
No
then he put
way.
me left back and left centre back.
Yeah.
And I scored like 5 goals in 6 games. And he just
From
kept
centre
me there.
back?
Yeah.
Is that kind of crazy that the injury almost led to you maybe discovering that
That
you
I had
could
a
do
left
that?
foot. Well, I couldn't use my right. I had to be in a brace for like 6 weeks.
Wow.
Similar
So
to
you
I
you.
know,
were
but-
playing in
So
a
I was
brace.
just at home just with a little soccer ball. Supposed
Yeah,
to
but
be doing
that's-
homework, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It
yeah,
worked
and
out for you, don't
It
worry.
worked out, and then I ended up playing left, and then and then I started. Then I got just got a highlight reel, and I sent it to my uncle in Macedonia, and the under 21s coach goes, "Look, I'll give it to under 19s coach," and figure it out. It was one of those old school in the bottom left hand corner has the date and time and all that. My mum was
Incredible.
videotaping it, and I just hear my dad like, watch the goal. Like you can hear him in the background. We didn't know how to do footage. It was all VCRs. And cut a long story short, I got called up for the juniors when I was still playing in Macedonia and had a great couple of friendlies. Flew back up for the Euro qualifier versus Croatia, Portugal and Israel from memory, and had a great tournament. And some agent called and said, look, when your season finishes, come up.
So were you still with Marconi at that point?
I was still
you was
Marconi, so
but
I
you
was
were
flying.
international.
I flew up a couple of times, for the international stuff, and then here I was like hoping that could have gotten me into first grade, and the A-League had just started, so it was NSO had finished, A-League started, and I was in no AIS, I was in no Football New South Wales
So
teams,
you weren't part
no
of the
school.
system.
I was not part of.
That's crazy.
the
So
system.
you were kind of playing international football, but you were almost not recognised in Australia.
Not at all.
That's
I was
wild.
playing standard, which
Yeah.
I think that should have been okay, but no, I wasn't part of the. There was a lot of boys from Westfields at school.
Oh, the
They
Westwood
were-
Academy. Yep.
Yeah, like they were all there, but I was just never one of them. And I went, okay, fair enough.
Did it feel exclusionary at the time? Like, could you tell that even though you were having this international experience, that not being a part of that academy, like everyone else who was kind of doing it that way, made it more difficult for you?
Well, I didn't really look at it, to be honest. I would just play my game and then go home. I never watched an NSL game growing up. I never watched the first grade. And I just wanted, to be fair, I was watching Super Saturdays Rugby League.
Oh,
when
really?
I got home, I never
What's
watched
your team?
soccer.
Yeah, who'd you go
Oh,
for?
I used to go for everybody. But my family
very
moved
different.
and they
go
came.
for everybody.
Yeah, I just love watching
you
all
watch
the
NRL
games. Not nowadays, no. When I moved to Victory, that's another story. And
Yeah.
got along with a lot of the Melbourne Storm boys,
Okay.
and they were just super cool. So I just followed them, and now they're all gone. So
Well,
now I
like your
just
Cooper Cronks and stuff?
yeah, Cooper Cronk. I didn't get along with him that much. It was more the other players. Like
Yeah.
he was
That
like
same-
that's a whole different
Yeah.
kettle of fish. But
Okay.
the Adokar and all that, they were cool. Cameron Smith.
Ah, sick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cam
they were
Munster.
all Cam Munster. Sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
legend.
They were all cool. Like they were the ones coming up, and we were all shared the change room. But I was a rugby league boy, but my dad never let me play it.
Oh wow.
Typical Wog, man.
Yeah.
No, it's so true.
It is so true. He goes, you want to smack me in the back of the head? He goes, that's what you're going to be
said
copying.
never.
So he goes, don't even bother.
Yeah, never.
But no, I was never in that system going back to football.
Yeah.
Just never happened in that way. And even though I played international, came back and they said, you're going to still play reserves. And I went, not even one training session with the first team, not one. So
Wow.
I just went, took a punt and got an opportunity and went over there and figured it out.
What was the craziest experience playing overseas? Just one thing that stands out to you.
The whole 8 years.
Yeah.
I could believe
Bit
that.
of a time. I can honestly say probably winning the first championship, there's probably two moments. So the first, to put it frank, the first year I was like in the juniors at Dinamo Zagreb, and at the time was Luka Modric there, and I was training with the team sometimes. So
That's so cool.
but iPhones went out then, so I didn't really know what the hell was going on.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair, Skype was out in MySpace.
You're kind of like in your own universe.
I was in
at
my
that
own world,
time.
but I was
Yeah.
training twice a day, every day for a year, learning the football,
That's
the European
so.
football.
How old were you then?
18 and a half.
That is like you.
That's sick.
You can't, and I try and when I'm coaching over here and stuff, I can't say how valuable that is. Do you know what I mean? When even if you're not getting paid or you're not at the level you want to make, or maybe you're in an academy or maybe you're at uni or whatever it is, to be able to train twice a day at 18 is like, if you want to be a footballer, you have to do that.
100%.
No matter what level it's at, you got to find it somewhere. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think people realize at that.
like the
teenage
level
age.
of commitment that
Yeah.
you need to have.
Yeah.
Everyone sacrifices.
Yeah.
Parents sacrifice the most at the end of
Yeah.
the day. But if you want to sacrifice and literally give it a try, I highly suggest giving it a go. Even
Taking
here in
a
Australia, taking a punt, because
Yeah.
you don't want to always say that. Even when I moved over, I don't want to come back to Australia or be at the end of my career and say, I didn't give it a go. And that's literally was my mantra. Just give it a go and see what happens. And yeah, it took a while.
So your parents, are they first generation?
Yes, they moved over in 85 and
Okay.
I was born here.
So
My
you're
brother was
first
born there.
generation Australian. How did your parents feel? They've moved over here from Macedonia and then you go back and play there.
Well,
How did it
they
feel for
they
them?
love the fact that I played for
Yeah.
like played for the national team,
Yeah.
but I never lived in Macedonia. I was
Okay.
only like there for holidays or for the national team, which was every month. But then to go to Croatia, I remember when I was jumping on the flight, my mum goes, and I knew a bit of Macedonian, but in Australia, we mix everything
Yeah.
and whatnot. And then she just said, when you go there, they say hi and bye, they say bok. And I went, what do you mean? Like, I know hi in Macedonian and you can say ciao. They go, no, they say bok. And I went, what?
is that?
She goes, good luck with it. And that was it. And I go, I'll figure it out. So I bought a thesaurus. And I was watching a lot of the old school, like full frontals on TV, and I would read the subtitles, and that's how I learnt the language. And I speak it fluently because I was watching TV.
Wow.
Well, I was doing 2 times a day training.
Yeah,
In
fair.
between was sleep, eat, and just
learn a bit of,
learning,
Croatian.
just
And
being a kid, I guess.
and you're in the capital, right? So you're
Yeah.
So
But no money.
Was
So
the-
it's not fun when you have no money.
but was
you know
the
what I mean?
majority of that squad Croatian?
They were all Croatian.
Yeah.
There was probably one guy from Switzerland, but he was Bosnian, so he knew the language and he was from that area. So I was the only foreigner, but they consider me Macedonian. So, but then when I try to explain I'm from Australia, they go, oh, you're a kangaroo.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but no, you're still Macedonian. It's fine. And I didn't even know how to speak Macedonian that well, nor write my name in the Macedonian alphabet or
Yeah.
whatnot. So
it's hard. It's
I was,
hard when you.
I
like
was
the culture.
oblivious,
Yeah,
which
the-
was good.
the
If I
culture's
knew
hard.
too much, like kids know nowadays, they expect so much now. Like I had no idea, and that's what probably kept me in Europe.
It keeps you humble as well, and it keeps you just working for what you're there for.
Well, yeah, my dad said if you don't like that, my dad has a concreting company. He goes, you're going to be on the shovel, boy. And I said, I ain't jumping.
Come and-
These
come and
hands
help
are
me
too
out."
sensitive for shovel, man.
Yeah.
It's a story that so many wogs can relate with right now,
Yeah.
I'm sure. But let's talk about playing for Macedonia, because it's something that we've talked about. I'm mixed race. You're not mixed race, but you're
mixed cultures.
you've
Definitely,
mixed culture.
for sure.
There's always that idea of potentially playing for Australia as well, right? And what that would have meant. Do you think that having parents from Macedonia made that role that you played in that team so special? Or growing up, was there ever a part of you that also was interested in representing Australia?
I never even wanted to play football
Yeah.
to be that, to
Yeah.
where I was going to get. I loved
Yeah.
football. I found it just relaxing. You're out of the world when you're on that pitch. So I always looked at it that way. And obviously being at home, always spoken Macedonian, always, the whole cultural and traditional thing. But I just gave it a go. I never really looked too deeply into it, and Australia never called. I was never in the AIS system when I was living here, so no one would have known who I was over there. And when the national team did call, and I was 23, sorry. So I was about 4 years in as a professional, and my dad goes, "Oh wait, the Socceroos might call." And I went, "Dude, they don't even know that I exist. Like, why would Macedonia kept me in Europe, and playing for the national team put me on a different scale where clubs were interested. Because if I didn't play for Macedonia or any national team, I'd just be another fish.
They might have not known who your career might have not have gone as far as it had gone because in Australia you weren't really getting the recognition. It is crazy. It is crazy how players, they do tend to slip through the system a little bit. You think of Volpato, if he didn't go. Tony Bash didn't take a punt on him and go to just put him on a trial and remain.
Well, to be fair, he's been going a lot. He was going for years back to Italy, and he's got family there. So he was always in that, you would say, system, and he was in the AC Milan system as well. So he was going there all the time.
Okay.
He was coming back here, but he was going all the time. But then, like you said, if he didn't go and actually stayed,
who knows?
Because he was coming back all the time. So if he didn't actually stay, who would have known? So there's always players.
So for you, it was those tapes that you sent over to Macedonia
I've
for your
got to find
uncle.
that DVD. It's
Man,
that is
bring
so
pretty
epic.
bad, man.
I feel like it's kind of the story that when I was younger, I would have imagined that's how every footballer made it. And then as you get older, you realize how much politics is in the game.
Yeah, it's all about, not all about, but I'm saying it helps with, especially who you know, or like what case you can present to a club, in a certain way for them to be interested to even give you a trial.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or look at you in that way, which, it's hard enough as it is. And then if you're a foreigner, they go, well, why can't you just make it in your own country anyway?
Well, you're a foreigner. You're actually thrown in the deep end even more than anybody else. But I would say it's luck as well.
Yeah.
You got to be at the right place at the right time. How that is, you just don't know with life in general, let alone football. And it's funny that you say those things because it is actually true. As a foreigner, and this is what I say to the kids in the academy and even players and whatnot, I go, overseas, it's that competitive. They want you. The next day, they look for reasons how to get rid of you. And as a foreigner, it's even harder. Yeah. So what do you have to do? You have to work twice as hard as everybody else, understand that they'll get pampered more than you, but you're a foreigner. You're in their country. And I felt that my first year at Dinamo Zagreb, and it's a story I always tell the kids. I go, "Oh, you think it's hard?" I go, I remember once in the change room, went to the bathroom, I come back, and my boots are gone. And it's snowing outside. And I went, okay, and I didn't know the language that well. And I asked some of the boys, like, Nöznam. Like, I don't know. All right. Cool. So we go outside. So I went outside with no boots, in the snow, freezing.
Oh, wow.
And the coach goes, where are your boots? In Croatian. I went,
someone's
Beats
taking
me.
them.
You know what the coach said? Go small players, go get them. So he knew straight away what they were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Boots back on. Man, I couldn't feel my toes for like 2 days, and I had 4 sessions as well.
Oh, man. He's
But
like,
that
yeah,
was
we've
what it
seen this
was. And
before.
I said I could have just kicked and screamed and
So, where's my boot?
like created
just got
something. I
over
was like,
it.
man, just shut up and just keep going. And that's pretty much how you have to look at it. And, I always say if you persist with anything, let alone football, you will prevail. Eventually. It took me 5 years.
Wow. And you might find that you have some cold toes through the whole process, but you get there.
You get there. I didn't get paid properly. I
Yeah.
was my first contract, and say it all the time, was €200 a month. Oh, sorry.
Jesus.
Sorry, I take it back. €800 a month, and I barely got the full amount for.
I used to,
3
and
years.
you were full time.
And I was
training
full time,
every single
professional, 19.
Oh, yeah.
So was that your parents supporting you through a lot of it?
Well,
as
we
or?
our food and apartment was paid
Paid
for,
for, yeah.
so that's all I need. I just said I just need a coffee. So if you get 30% that month,
Yeah.
you saving your cents.
It's true. When you're,
You know what I mean?
When
Wow.
you're young, when you're young, you like, as long as I have food and I've got a
Man, I was hungry all the time though. Yeah,
food-
when you're
something
young,
on the table.
I was
training
hungry
as well,
all the
you're
time.
training.
They gave us food, but you know what? Like give you that low tier crap.
Yeah.
And it's like, can I have just another piece of bread? And they're like, nah. I'm like, damn.
That's all you get. That's the portion you get.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. But I never looked at it that way. I never looked at it, this would be the stages of me making it. I never thought of that. I never even realized what was going on. And that's probably what I'm saying is probably what helped me, that I didn't know and I was that oblivious to it.
Wow. I want to touch on the academy stuff that you do as well, but we'll get to that after this important question, which Claude's asked. It's around the World Cup being now 48 teams. And do we think that that's going to do a lot for Macedonia moving forward as we increase the team numbers in the World Cup? But also on that, you also were part of that Macedonia squad that knocked Italy out of the World Cup.
Oh, I'm still playing now.
Ish?
No,
Can you tell us?
I never announced my.
Okay.
I didn't want to announce my retirement because I just didn't want to play anymore.
Okay.
But when Macedonia made it, those players were the ones underneath us.
Okay.
So when I was playing, the captain, not Pandif, the vice captain, he was my benchy, you would say.
Yeah.
But he was coming up the ranks, and that whole generation. That was the first under-21s national team that actually made the Euros.
Yeah, wow.
Which no one had known. So they kept that generation, and they did what I even think the Socceroos should do, is get a team and put them in teams that they will actually play. Bunch of players. They're playing regularly in Europe, wherever it is, and build them up, right? And that's what Macedonia kind of did. And they were all playing abroad, and they gelled together. And if you're gelling 5-6 years, that's why Macedonia, North Macedonia is what politically correct is nowadays.
Yeah.
So
That's how they
kept the
got there
same
because they were
team
together for that.
for 5 or so years and made sure those players in that
More.
team were all playing in certain teams, but they always came together. To
Yeah,
play
like
for
Daliowski wasn't in Leeds United at the time either. So when I was there, he wasn't. He was just a kid coming up, and then he went and made his transfers, and a few other players made their transfers, and they came in and they kept that team together. Because when I was there was always 5-6 players, new faces coming in. You're like, I couldn't remember their names. After a year, I was like, dude,
Wow.
you got your regulars, but you got all these other people. And when you have that, it's like he comes in one time, and then the next national team they're not there, and he was really unstable. And that's why Pundiv retired as well. He said, I'm done. And I was there with him, and he goes, because he and I were the only players playing in the Champions League at the time, and I was benched for another kid to kind of shine. And he goes, you know what, screw this. In the lift, he goes, I'm done.
Wow.
And that was, and I said, well, I was just disappointed I didn't get to play. And he goes, no, I'm done. And it was in Serbia we played, and he had retired until a few years later he did come back. And because of that system, that did not work.
You say you played in the Champions League. Well, didn't you mark Hazard the game?
Yeah, I marked him before because we played Belgium.
Talk to me about that.
Oh, dude.
How is it marking Hazard?
Dude, I knew you were going to come up with this one. I
What
watched
was
the
he
other
like?
podcast about Chelsea and all that. The one last week you guys were talking about it. But no, I was oblivious again. Yes, social media was out, but not to that extent. I didn't know. How can I say?
What year is this again? Because I'm trying to think.
Mourinho was the coach.
That's like.
Do you want me to tell you the starting lineup?
That's like up and coming Hazard. Like,
dude, you want me to tell you the starting
rapid,
lineup?
fast
Yeah,
This
Hazard.
is Hazard
Like,
at
not a
100 mil,
joke
not now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's 100
The
mil Hazard.
starting lineup we had played. So I take it back. We played him in the Europa League the year before, and they had won it that year.
Yeah.
And we knocked out Ajax, which was crucial. Ericsson was in the team. We beat him on penalties.
That's
I was
wild.
coming back from a broken leg, so I know what you're feeling.
Oh, man.
And I was so eager to get ready. And I remember when we won that game, I said to the physio, get my ass ready for these games. I still had plates and screws in there, but I didn't really care. Yeah. And I'd gone through not getting paid for years. Like, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. And we won the first game. This is Europa League, 1-0 at home. The second game, we're winning 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. So aggregate, we're 2-0 up.
Yeah.
Man, John Terry decides to score, Lampard decides to score, and Torres decides to score in the second half. And
That's
then
a
we
name
come
drop
in.
and a half.
Oh, just wait till I give you the starting lineup. And then we get drawn in the Champions League with them. And I'm like, man, give me somebody else. Like, I already played
Chelsea
I already
again.
got to see Stamford Bridge, you know what I mean? And then we played him at home. And Mourinho, they hadn't won that month, or they had drawn once or twice. And Mourinho was under the pump. And we were doing well. And this is where you get to see the difference in
Skill level.
just, we always say, you see the pass, 2 passes ahead. Man, when I saw them play, there was like 4 passes ahead. You can see a run happening. I'm like, shit, this is different.
True.
The starting lineup: Peter Cech, Ivanovic,
Oh, Lord.
Wait.
John Terry.
Oh, man.
What's the Brazilian? David Luiz. Left back, Ashley Cole.
No, not Ashley Cole.
It's Ashley Cole era.
It was still there, man. Midfield, Ramirez,
That's a strong mid.
Lampard.
Yeah.
I've got to remember the other guy. I think it was starts with an M. Matu.
Oh,
Not
Morelos?
Matuidi, no.
Raul Morales?
I'm not remembering at the moment. Winger, Hazard.
Yeah.
Striker, Eto.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember the other bloke. And I think it was Oscar.
Oscar.
And
that Chelsea team.
Just wait, this is even worse. The 12th minute, Eto goes down. And we're like,
Injured.
sweet. Guess who comes on? Torres. I'm like, oh, shit. Dude, we're getting pumped, man. And we lost 4-0. I got booed off the field, man. Schürrle was on my side.
Oh,
Hazard was on the other side, or I think he was injured or something like that. But
Wow.
Was there such an experience that like you had to? Is it one of them times where you pinch yourself because you've come from Australia playing in Marconi and then you're playing in the Champions League against
well, it
Hazard?
took me 5 years to
It
get
took-
there.
that's what I'm saying,
Man, I
but
was playing second year.
Was there ever a moment in that match where you were like, okay, like I'm here, like, do you know what I mean?
I actually tried hard at that game, to be honest. And that's why I played so poorly.
Yeah.
It was the worst game I ever played, but it's because I actually put pressure on myself to perform. Man, I was playing second division Croatia. We got relegated. Man, there were all cows next to the stadium. Like, dude, from there
That's
to in front of
humbling.
50,000, you're like, what's going on? And the good thing is, like, you never look at it because we were playing games. We were in hotels 4 nights a week. We had 2 games a week, and you don't have time to figure out who you're playing. Like, I remember my mum will go, just message me wherever you are.
Yeah.
I go, Mum, we arrived. She goes, where? I go, I don't know. There's no welcome sign. I didn't even know what country we're in because it was always flight here, bus to this.
In the
Just
zone.
tell me where it is.
You're just
Well,
in
you
the
don't really
zone.
know. It's like meet us at this time, and then there's a bus to the plane to go somewhere to go play this game to whatever it is. And it's just like that for.
Cycle.
Does that
Well,
mean
yeah.
that a lot of those experiences, say, for example, what you've just described, a lot of realizing what a big moment that was comes after when you reflect on it?
When I came to Australia is when I realized that I actually played against these players. I never even realized.
That is wild.
You know, you want to tell you a funny story? When I was retiring, I'll tell you, a few years into Victory when I was here, a photo came out in the newsletter, Jesus Christ. And it was a photo of me and Mo Salah. And I went, when did I play him?
Oh my.
I thought someone had edited it. Anyway, and I went into it and it was like, he was wearing Basel. And we played Basel in the Champions League.
shit.
So I messaged, I go, Mum, can you just go like, because she has typical like in
Everything.
glad wrap in all
Oh,
the. I go,
bless
Mum,
her.
go into where the jerseys are and see the game versus Basel, whose it is. And she goes, oh, it says M Salah. I was like, oh, so I actually changed with Mo Salah. And this was years later, which I didn't, like I said, you just
Wow.
never even know. And they're still in glad wrap. They're still my parents' house. I
That
don't
is
even know what's in there
crazy.
because it's so surreal, but it's like, you think it's like a movie where it's like, oh, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It ain't.
You can't.
It's not.
That's so cool though.
And now when like I don't speak about it as much, but when I do, it reminds me of things. And that moment that you asked, what was your best? We won the league, and in Romania. So after being relegated 3 times in 5 years, my first 5 years as a professional, we won the league 2 years in a row. And that first year, man, there was about 57,000 at the stadium, and then another 50,000 outside around the double-decker bus. Wow. And me being me, I just threw my jersey, my shorts, my socks out. I was stuck in my underwear in front of 50,000, man, and just partied it up. And the worst thing is I didn't even get to enjoy it because the next day I had a flight to go to Sweden for the national team. So you don't really have time to realize.
You don't really rest as a
I got to
footballer.
Sweden, I saw Ibrahimovic, like, oh, we're going to play against him. And I'm like, man, my thigh's kind of hurting. I had a bloody tear in my thigh. I didn't even realize. So I said, I can't. I only had 2 weeks off. I go, I can't play. But I was just watching Ibrahimovic and I'm like, damn, he's big.
That's crazy. That's some wild
That's
stories,
heavy.
and I feel like I don't feel like a lot of people know because how I first came across you was
Well, yeah, we need to dive into.
yeah. So basically, how I started
know each other.
supporting the Wanderers was through my roommate, who's also his name is Daniel at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, you need to come down and watch the Wanderers. Like, we got this left back called Georgievski, and he's good. Like, he's a character." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Oh yeah, whatever. Come watch." I was like, "Nah." Yeah, you know what? No, I like
Was I
him.
fighting that game probably?
No, but it
Arguing
was
as
like
well?
he was like watch him. He kind of embodies like what Western Sydney Wanderers are, and I'm left-footed, so I played left back and left centre back. So I kind of watched you that game. And I was like, yeah, nah, I like this team. And you were I think we were playing a back three. I think it was you
I was
left
playing
wing back,
I
and then it was
playing wing
German.
back.
like Matt German.
Matty
like,
Yerman, centre back, McGowan and Ziegler, I think, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Ziegler,
And
that
I
was-
was having to.
up and down.
Do
You
all
were
that
doing
running.
doggies. You were doing doggies. So
They didn't help me out. The structure didn't help me out at all.
Yeah,
He's
it
like,
was
you got to be on the back post when they're attacking, and then be on the back post defending. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, I'm a marathon runner. What
yeah,
the hell?
left wing back is a.
And I'm not
even
even
wing back in
left-footed.
general is.
Wow.
And I'm not even left-footed. I'm like, geez. When I came to Australia, they go, "Can you play?" I'm like, I'll figure it out. Muskie goes, we need a left back. I go, okay. I'm 8 years in Europe, right back. He goes, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I just created my
Look at
own
you,
way.
wow.
And lucky enough, the brace for 6 weeks with my
Yeah.
left foot helped me out eventually. Because in Europe, you're one-footed, you're in that position. And
Did you enjoy playing for Western Sydney? Was
the
it
first year,
Yeah.
COVID had hit. That kind of sucked. You know, we had Babel had gotten fired, and then JP took over, and we're on momentum, and then COVID hit, and then the next year.
It was tough.
Well,
Nah.
let's jump into that because you're into Lions now. You've obviously got a history with Marconi, so that NPL connection is really strong with you as well. But you've played with a few different clubs in the A-League. So like, let's kind of break down the different. Let's start off with the one big question that comes up all the time on Born Offside. It is, what is the actual difference between NPL and A-Leagues in terms of quality of football, in terms of talent? I think it's something that we can debate to no end because there's evidence of talent on both sides. But I'd love to get your perspective, having played both, and you clearly know it very well.
Yeah, to be fair, there are players in the A-League that shouldn't be there.
I love that.
Straight up.
Straight
When
in.
I look at it, I go, how is this guy playing? Like, honestly, like,
Who? No,
they-
just kidding.
no, too many. There are players that are like always at that, you know, like that's what you're going to get.
Fringe players is like on.
Or they'll be playing as well. And I'm like, how, like, give a younger player the opportunity or someone that will actually have ambition to go bigger. Players are just content. And that's what frustrates me. It's like, how can you be content? Football's glass is always half full. So why are you content at half full? Like, push yourself. And I don't refer to
I
my
feel like-
story. It's
I
more
feel like that's the problem with coming at the semi-pro level, because I was always at the semi-pro level trying to go pro, right? But the thing is, when you're at the semi-pro level and you're getting paid, everyone's content. So you're the only person that wants to go higher. Whereas, like, I feel like at the professional level, everyone should be wanting to go higher, not content.
well, if your minimum wage is 60,000 or something like that, man, that's a good wage for not even finishing school or doing any education. It's like, oh, I've made sacrifices. 60 grand is too much in my eyes. And it frustrates me the fact that it's that high because it's competing with AFL and NRL. I'm like, no. Like football, yes, there's sacrifices. But like I said, the parents sacrifice the most. Kid making 60K, they're content. Come on, man. You're playing soccer. 60 grand is too much in my eyes. But that's a whole different debate if we were to go there. But I think
We can go there.
how long is the podcast going to go for, you know?
As long as
It's
we
just
want.
more the
Part
fact
two.
that it needs to be there. Now, to answer your question, I see players in the NPL, obviously, well, I didn't want to play, to be brutally honest. I retired. I was done. I was enjoying my life. Got my little boy now, got a little girl as well. I was just happy. I had no knee injuries. I could bend over and I can stay for 10 minutes on my knees.
Your legs
You
are
know what I
fine.
mean? So I was content. And then, my academies were part of that academy there. And the TD asked me, he goes, oh, do you want to play? I'm like, that's a big call, man. I go, really, no.
Not really.
I have a lot of respect for the guy. George Paradis has been around the, New South Wales and Sydney Olympic and all that for years, and just a beautiful person. And he goes, look, need your help. I want to get promoted. And I'm like, to what? Like, what? I didn't know the
What's the
system.
goal?
Well, I
Yeah.
left so long ago, and I had no interest in it. And to answer your question, there are players that have ambition that haven't gotten the opportunity. But they're still pushing. But then there is a time limit where they're like, okay, now I have to focus on my studies because this ain't happening. And that's reality of football. That's 99% of players. But there are the difference is, and I think when you watch the Australian Cup or the FFA Cup when I was playing, when the top team of NPL 1 play against A-League players are in their mid pre-season. So they ain't even into their seasons yet. NPL 1 are in their season and they're in, they've got form, they've got confidence, and they are still kind of par and par. And I remember when we played, I think it was Wanderers, and I think we played Sydney.
Olympic.
Was Sydney United, I think it was. And there was a few players that came from the Wanderers system, whatnot. Man, I scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
We pumped him, I think 6-0 was a fight or whatnot. And I think it was 6-1 or something like that. And I said, there's a difference. There's a
Right.
big difference, and it makes sense if you're training every day compared to someone that's training
Absolutely.
3
It's your
times a week.
full-time job.
Is a different type, and the training that you get is different. So that's why you cannot compare. But if you put them in that environment, 100%. But again, that person looks at it and goes, yeah, but I can go and make, go play my football, make X amount, go and work, which could be for the next 40 years of my life. They look at it like that. I never did that. I just went, man, I don't want to touch a shovel. I'm going to go figure this out.
All football.
You just call it because you don't want to retire or get to the latter stage of your career and say, I didn't give it a go. And that's what I tell all the kids. Give it a go.
I want to ask you about also coaching in Australia, because I coached in England, I've coached over here as well. And the kids, right? I feel like the kids over here are a little bit privileged in a sense. In the sense of they don't have that dog, as we call it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No, yeah.
Like the fact, like you don't want to. It's more coming from the parents than it is coming from them. Have you found
You answered
that
the
as well?
question right there, man.
Yeah.
It's the parents. It's the parents. It's not the kid. Kids are innocent. I'll always say that's why I got into academy work, because while I was still playing, I saw how it was, and I saw, how, you would see, you do promos and whatnot, and I see it, and I see the kids are innocent, man. They don't know, like, they just hear things. They're sponges. And then you hear parents, and I'm like, man, I got to change this narrative.
Yeah.
Because they think the more money they spend, the kid's going to get better. Dude.
Nah, that's not how it
I
works.
could not, even
That is
with
not how-
my academy, man, I go, guys, you're at a certain age, I'll give you a story.
Yeah.
A kid, saw him once, we were doing this tournament, and you can see a good little player. I think he was 11 years old. And I go, hey, are you enjoying it? He goes, oh, man, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, you're 11, man.
What are you talking about?
He goes, oh, if we do 4 days. I go, oh, it's all right. I go, what do you do on the 5th? He goes, I rest. And I went, you're 11 years old and you're resting on a day. I go, man, we had the ball 8 days of the week because it wasn't a job.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. You know what I mean? 3 days later, speaking to some parents, business partner goes, oh, that's the kid that you spoke to the first day. And I said to him, I go, look, your kid, he loves it, he enjoys it, all that. He said he enjoyed it, but the first thing he said to me was, it's a lot of work. And I went, man, pull it back a bit. Oh, we don't tell him what to do, blah, blah, blah. I go, okay. You know what they asked me at the end of it? I go, look, just pull it back. Just let him go and be a kid, which is reality. I go, do you do 1v1s? And I went, he's already said, I've already told you to
Just
not.
told
And
you.
I'm like, man, I can gyp some money out of these kids.
Yeah.
But I said no, because it's not right. Like, the kid still has to be a kid.
You're so
because
right.
they hit a certain age when they're 11, 12. Like, it's all ball. When they're doing physical stuff, it's all ball. They have to be comfortable on the ball and just enjoy the game, because that's what it is. Football doesn't know you anything other than enjoyment. We're here because we're enjoying the game. It's like, yes, it's competitive and all that, but they think by training hard, you'll gain a competitive edge. No, that's distilled in you.
Yeah.
I'm super competitive. Now I've toned it down, but I was super competitive on the pitch, not now in every little thing. How did that come on me? Man, I don't know. I got relegated 3 times my first 5 years. There's no competitive there, or, you're pulling your hair out. It's a lot of negativity. It's distilled in you. They think that can be taught. And people charge for that. It's like, you cannot. Kids just have to have fun. When they hit a certain level, like you said, then you can go, okay, now we're at this level. Now the physical attributes come. Now, but if you've skipped the first step of the initial
Already,
football of an enjoyment,
it's tough.
man, you're already stuffed. And that's where I get it wrong. And that's when I look at it, I'm like, man, people need to relax. Like, parents need to relax, because the kid is innocent. And I always will say that. They hear their parents and they will repeat it. We got smacked in the back of the head if I repeated what my dad said, but he said in Macedonian, so I couldn't translate in English. But it was a different world what it was now, and it's, there's academies everywhere. And look, that's fair enough, But the basic philosophy is football's fun. And they say, don't say that. I'm like, I had fun until I retired at 33. What's the difference?
Do you know, it's funny, I was watching Son's highlight video today. He had his 100th goal over the weekend. And I looked back, I watched a good 10 minutes of this 30-minute highlight reel. And I thought the one thing that is consistent with Son is he reminds you that it's a game, that it's fun. The way that he
funny,
celebrates his goal,
He's just so
it
happy.
takes you back to that really innocent, youthful, when you're playing with your friends in the park and you score a goal, and it just feels so good.
Rafael Leal's like that as well. He's always smiling when he's just before he scores or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
It's so nice.
That's what it is. And it's like you just said, it's like, it reminds you back of when you were a kid, because man, we were playing with the ball and we're kids. If you get to be part of that for the rest of your life, why not?
That's what it's about.
And that's what frustrates me. That's why I say I try to change the narrative of that, because I've gone and done it, but I'm teaching you something that no one else can teach you, which is reality of football. Because I went and did it. Now I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. There's players that have had a better career than me, 100%. God bless them. Well done.
Yeah.
But I'm teaching you something that I lived through. I saw it. I saw how hard he was over there. Why don't you see many A-League players actually playing in Europe? They're playing in Scotland now. Few players. Fair enough. But that's one league of Scotland, and we know other than the top 2-3 teams, the rest aren't as full on.
Yeah.
But why aren't more playing there? Because players in the A-League won't be able to sustain it over there.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game, and you would know it
Yeah,
yourself.
they
The
say.
competitiveness.
I mean, a lot in England, they kind of think if it's in the A-League, they say it translates to maybe League One, League Two. I always think the A-League's a little bit higher, because I feel like it's the talent wise. I feel like it has, like you said, there's some players that you go, well, I don't know if he should be in the A-League or not. But then there's other guys where you go, fuck, he could be. He's like young players, Kunda. You go. He's probably going to go Premier League. He's probably going to go Championship team or whatever. So it's like it's hard to go. This translates to this, because the league is so
quality wise, A-League is up there.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's a stat that my old agent sent out. Like A-League's up there with high performance and all that stuff. Like statistically,
Like
it's up there.
and all of
Fitness
that.
and balls in the box, all this stuff. All those Optus stats and all that. Australia A-League's up there. But what I'm saying about Europe is it's not the football. It's the lifestyle.
Yeah,
it's the understanding that what comes with that. Like I said to you at the start, when you get there, the next day they're trying to figure out how to get rid of you. In A-League, they're like, we've got you for 2 years. Okay, that's okay. Dude,
Wow.
are you serious, man? They're trying to get rid of me. They just bore me. You know what I mean? Like,
I
it's a
think-
different ball game, and that's what Australia doesn't have. It will never have, because you said earlier, it's a bit pampered.
Yeah.
But when they go and see it, I hope they go and see it.
It's such a good point. I think that security idea, feeling secure in your team, in your position,
Go
not
in
feeling
another
like
language,
you have to
man.
earn it,
Yeah.
it really changes the nature of your approach.
Too easy.
Yeah.
And that's what frustrates me.
Is that a philosophy that you're taking into your academy training now? Because for those at home who don't know you now, that's become a big thing for you, hasn't it? Kind of, I guess, like you said, what you've learnt, you now teach to younger generation.
It's my bread and butter. That's what I've wanted to do. And, when you retire, everyone's like, oh, you're supposed to be doing this or that. I was going to live in Melbourne, to be honest. We were living in Melbourne at the time, because I was just finished in Melbourne City, and pretty much that's what got me to come to Sydney. I was a TD at Inter Lions while I was playing at Wanderers, and had that great relationship with one guy there, and he said, look, the academy's there. It's the only sanctioned academy in New South Wales, so it goes through all the right stuff, Football New South Wales, CDSFA, all that. So it's structured right, because that's what it should be. We run that one. That's one location. We run a couple of training programs in other locations, and I've got my own private academy for tournaments. So I'm looking at that and creating that narrative, and it's still early days. You can't jump and then everyone's going to listen to it today. No, I'm looking at it for the next 10, 15 years of actually getting the narrative right more to parents, because kids won't know.
Isn't it?
The less they know, the better.
Yeah.
It's a scary world out there in
Keeping
football.
it fun. Yeah. You shouldn't feel like football is a job when you're 11 years old.
No, it shouldn't. It was never a job, even when it was a job.
Yeah.
And that's how I looked when someone said, oh, you got work today. I'm like, dude, I'm just training. I'll get to play one game a week. I'm living the dream.
Yeah.
But that's because I went over there and I saw how it was. I go, now I'm living the dream. I shouldn't be living the dream at the start. Should be working twice as hard like a dog, which I did over there, to get somewhere. And there was no guarantee either. Well, there's more of a guarantee in Australia than there. But I said, I'm not coming to Australia without succeeding something there. And I've fortunate enough got to do it.
That's really cool. Do you see that in your kids too, the ones that you trained?
Yeah, for me it was really hard to. It depends, because I did the one-on-ones as well, and I also did the academy sessions, and then I also did like 2 different academies. Like I was doing pretty much coaching full time, and it was.
You on a job, man? You want to come on, man? I love your philosophy, man.
I was doing it. To be fair, I might try to get back into it, but it was hard for me. It was hard for me. The one-on-ones I loved the one-on-ones, because I feel like when I have a one-on-one with someone, I can instill my mindset into that person a lot easier. Group sessions, depending on where like if the kids are paying, if what academy it is, you know, how much the parents are paying. That depends on how the kids are.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I struggle with, because I was just like, well, this person in the group wants to listen, but these other three, they clearly don't want to be here, and then you have to try and mix and match.
What do you do
I
when you have three?
I-
One, okay, but three, what do you do?
How I did it was like, I was always just a dickhead. Like I was just like, if you don't want to be here, go away. And I don't care about the parents, because I tell the parents the same thing. Like I'll tell them, this is how I was successful. If you guys don't understand it, and I think because I have an English accent as well, it helps. Do you know what I mean?
It definitely does, man.
It helps.
definitely does.
So I
It's
kind
giving
of,
she's the man.
yeah, I kind of, I kind of was able to like get parents on my side from kind of being tough with the kids, and also them understanding that I'm not doing. I think when
You don't run a daycare center.
yeah,
You're running
yeah,
training.
that kind of thing. But then I also was just a little bit frustrated at times as well, which is why I prefer the one-on-ones, because it's just easier for me to build that relationship with that person. And I know they're serious, so
No, you're definitely right. With a group of kids, and now when we do our sessions, you have to understand the kids come from school, sugar rush. You know, I had a bad day in school, whatever.
Yeah.
I go, look, you're here by choice.
yeah,
You're not forced to come here. No one's got a gun to your parents' head.
yeah.
You're not forced to come here. And the narrative which I'm trying to say is, we don't yell either.
Mm.
I was aggro on the field, but here I'm calm. And you have to be calm, because all I say is, what do you do to a kid for them to listen? You take away something that they want,
Yeah.
which is their fun. So I go, come stand next to me.
Mm.
Don't
They
touch the
hate-
ball.
Yeah.
Come stand next to me.
Yeah, they hate
And
that.
they're like, oh, when am I going to play? I go, you're not. Well, wait, have you earned to play?
Yeah.
I go, no, you're disturbing everyone else. Another 14 kids here. Or we cap it at 14, 13 kids here. There's two, beautiful. You can come stand on the other side of me.
Yeah, yeah.
And
that's it.
those
I've done
little
that one
things
before.
you realize, and then
They
you
hate it.
eventually get to them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I always look at it, I have to earn their respect and trust, even though they're a kid. And then when I've got them, that's when I go into my stuff. And the thing is, the ones that are most disruptive, because they just don't concentrate, because they don't even know what ability they have. And now we go from base, have 2 left feet, to that kid that had 2 left feet in a year's time. Dude is in the advanced class.
Jeez, I think I need to join.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But again, they look at it and they go, oh, but there's so much steps. I go, yes, there is. But I'm still learning. My business partner's been doing it for 10 years. I've been doing it for only a year since I retired, 1.5 years. And I'm always learning, because you always have different kids. You always have different
Everyone's
styles.
different,
And you
yeah.
can just see when a kid listens. But how do you get that? It's patience.
Yeah.
It's pure
You got to
patience.
tailor it to each individual. As
Yeah, and
well.
that's
It's
why
not
people
one
trip
size
out. How are
fits all.
you patient and not swearing? I go, I love what I do. I get
Enjoy
to
it.
chill with my kids all day, and I go do my academy work. I go, I'm loving it, and that's why my passion comes in that now.
I love that. That's awesome.
Got
Really.
to do it. It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It is hard.
It
You
is,
can-
it is.
you
I
can
was-
relate, you
I
can
was doing
you
a lot
know.
of coaching. Yeah, it is.
Those 5
Get
a.m.
there-
wake
I
up.
used to do 5 a.m.s, and then you get there, and then also like you as a coach, you got to set up an hour. You got to be there an hour before, because you got 30 minutes to, and then afterwards it takes time to pack it up. Yeah, it's like
It's a lot.
It's getting a lot. If you enjoy it, but it's good.
All right, I'm going to change up the pace a little now. I think I'm glad. I feel like there's a business opportunity here between the two of you.
Maybe,
But I'll
maybe.
leave that for you
I
to
know, once he
discuss
gets this
offline.
Once
boot
I get
off
out
him,
of the
man.
boot,
Yeah,
man,
I
for
love
sure.
it. We're going to do a start,
Sorry.
bench, or sell, an A-League edition. This is being sent in by Crispy04. Loves a question or a comment, this guy. He's fantastic. All right. So who you going to sell, who you going to bench, who you going to start? Berisha, McLaren, Archie Thompson.
Ooh, my boy Archie.
That's a tough one.
Which Berisha? The one that's now, or Bessard?
Before.
Oh man, he's killed me there. So I have to sell one.
Sell, bench, start.
Who's
With
your least
Archie, it's
favourite?
hard because you don't know what day of the week it is with him. I think, respectfully, of course, because I'm good with all 3
They're
of those
always
boys.
respectful.
You have to say that before
You're gonna
Yeah.
say.
you make that decision. I would start Berisha because he had a winning mentality
Love that.
every game. Frustrating sometimes, but he had that fire in him. I would bench Archie and I'll sell McLaren.
Hey.
We're talking different eras now.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I mean?
are.
Like
No, we
McLaren's at the moment, please.
Flying, yeah.
But I think going off that, yeah.
All right. Well, we've whipped up some of our own, and we're going to run through these, and then we're going to address Claude's question as well, because we need to make him present in this
He's
moment
been
as well.
pretty
We'll come
present.
back to it, but we're going to do it now. Defenders. These are Nigel Bugard, Nick Ansell, Dylan McGowan.
What about him? Oh, you do the same
Start,
thing?
bench, sell.
I'll sell McGowan. Never rated him. Nice bloke, but
Yeah.
football, no. I would bench Ansel and play Bogard.
Love it. That was way easier than the other
That
one.
was very easy.
That really, the other one really got you thinking. All right. So now Claude's asked, he's a bit cheeky. He did ask this question. He said the World Cup is now 48 teams.
Yes.
How many teams will it have to expand to for Macedonia to make the World Cup? 104.
Well, the way they structured the Euros, that's what got us into the Euros,
Mm-hmm.
to be fair. So if they can structure the same for the World Cup, man, I'll be cheering. I'll be there. Man, that'll be amazing for a small country like that. It'll be amazing, even just in general, to be like, it was amazing they got to the Euros, and wow. But yeah, if they structure it in a way that helps us out,
Maybe not quite 104. I think that's a bit slack. For
Yeah,
Claude.
he's
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 kind of
just-
shot me in the
he's
foot
just
there. It was
burnt-
104.
No,
Jesus
he's
Christ.
just bitter because he's Italian.
Oh, look, I did cop a bit because of
From
the
that.
Italians from
Yeah,
that. And I
from
said,
that
look,
match.
you guys suck if you're losing to Macedonia.
What do you want me to tell
Like,
you?
honestly,
That's very
I was
honest.
watching the game and I was like, okay, he's going into extra time. And I saw him score. I went, the first thing I said was, uh-oh. All these Italians are going to hate on
That's
me.
it.
And the social media went off. And I was
man.
like,
Were you in
I don't
Australia at the
follow it.
time?
Yes. I was in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky I have it all on mute.
You
my
avoided Ligon
notifications.
Street at all
Crazy.
costs. I'm sure.
100%. It was
Should have
I
posted a picture of you playing for Macedonia. That would
should have pulled out a random jersey
Yeah,
from the
right.
Glad
Oh, you would have burned a few people. along the
Yeah,
way.
no, I don't. I don't get into that. I don't get into the people. Yeah.
No. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been such an interesting talk, from your experiences playing to what you're doing now with the academy. I think it's brilliant, and I encourage people to check out your socials and
I'm not that
everything that
live
you're
on
doing.
socials, to be honest. I'm not
Yeah.
into
You
that.
need to be, bro.
I know I need to be.
Especially if you've got your own academy.
Yeah,
you know,
No, I do.
If you've got your own academy and you're coaching in a Lions and you're ex-player, you know that it's. I say to people now, it's even if you've got no interest in like going viral or anything like that, it's more like just to people to see what you're doing, in the chances where, because for me when I was doing one-on-ones, that was what was getting me a lot of business.
Yeah.
No,
Like
100%.
people were seeing it and then they
Business
were,
opportunity.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
He's
they
going.
were seeing it through
We'll
that.
do
bro.
a second episode.
No, you're
all
absolutely
about
right, and
For
that's
sure.
why
business.
it's how to change. You have to get to the whole thing, but look, social media is huge.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, it's where people go and see it. But yeah, there's just some things when I see out there, and I don't want to be perceived that way
Fair
because
enough.
it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
true.
Dude, like you're marketing this like you've not, I don't respect it because I know that it's not real.
Yeah, and I
But
think
that's me.
a huge part of sharing is also the possibility of being taken out of context as well, or being misunderstood.
Of
That
course,
all comes
especially
with it.
nowadays. Oof.
Yeah.
Negative
God
comments
damn.
a lot.
That's
yeah.
why I avoid it.
But if people do,
just put a soccer ball emoji everywhere.
yeah, safe.
The
It's very
safe one.
If people do want to find out more about your academy, what can they search?
I actually just finished the website, so there you go.
Ah,
Bit of
perfect.
Stellafootball.com.au. It's
Amazing.
that's our private one, and then we do the cbfi.com.au, cbfiacademy.com.au.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's all there. It's yeah, I don't care what the emblem is. It's football. It's us there. It's not my
Awesome.
name, and no, I'm not rocking up. No, I'm there
It's
all the
that.
time with my business partner.
That's
and,
brilliant. Fantastic.
And we're there. Yeah, it's
Well,
good.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having
It's been
me.
a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Bringing back a lot of memories, man.
Yeah, I love that.
Now I've got these
Awesome.
things ticking in my head.
Yeah, you're gonna be driving home just thinking about.
Oh, it's
all
gonna be
these
torture now.
moments.
I should have said
You'll think
this.
of all these stories. You're like, I wish. Well, we can have you on again.
For sure.
No.
You think of some really cool stories that you want to share, you're always welcome on the couch here. But for everyone at home, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel 2.0. The
Tekkers.
other Daniel.
I'm
Tekkers.
Daniel 2.0. He's
Sorry,
Daniel,
my bad.
respectfully.
I looked the wrong way at the time. It's
No, thanks for having me.
He's
It's
on
fun.
OLANTEKKERS to our audience anyway. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on Monday.